The fastest way to build confidence is to keep the promises you make to yourself. Stop waiting to feel more confident before you take action. Build confidence through your actions. Make commitments that you keep and keep them consistently. You've heard me say this before. Many great leaders have said these things. How you do anything is how you do everything. If you keep your commitments to yourself, you're going to be a winner. Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III. I am your host. How was your weekend? I just wanted to check in on you a little bit. I was able to get out to an outdoor amphitheater, have a great concert. I want to encourage you to really get out there and enjoy life. Life is all about what you do and how you do it. Just take a minute, step back, and I want you to ask yourself this. Do you believe yourself when you make a promise to yourself? Think about that for a minute. Because we make commitments to ourselves all the time. I'm going to get up earlier. I'm going to work out. I'm going to make those calls. I'm going to go do something. I'm going to finish that project, spend more time with family, whatever it is. I'm going to stop doing this, stop doing that. But how often do we actually follow through? Because I think that there's a deeper connection between your actual discipline and confidence than a lot of people think about. And I know this is kind of random. It is definitely a topic that I think fits right into Monday because I tend to think discipline is about forcing ourselves to do things that we don't want to do. But I think self-discipline is really self-respect, and it's keeping the commitments that you make to yourself. And here's the big idea that I want you to remember today. The fastest way to build confidence is to keep the promises that you make for yourself. If you're new to the Daily Mastermind, we're going to get into this really deep today, but I just want to remind you that today is about your mindset. It's your inner game. It's how do you create more clarity, focus, and discipline. And getting confidence is one of those topics that just consistently comes up with founders. Now, Wednesday, we'll get into business. That'll be your outer game stuff. And Friday, we'll talk lifestyle and creating that life that you want to live while we do interviews on Tuesday and Thursday. But let's talk today about discipline. Because we've recently talked about clarity, we've talked about focus on Monday, but consistency and consistently doing things, that's what really takes it to the next level. And that brings me to this whole discipline topic. So discipline is built through small daily commitments. I think that when we picture disciplined people, we tend to imagine somebody with incredible willpower. They're up at 4:30 in the morning. It's funny because Joe Rogan once said, I'm the most consistent or disciplined lazy person because he doesn't like to do these things. You think of these disciplined people like they're up at 4:30 in the morning. They never miss a workout. They're incredibly productive. They're always executing. But discipline usually isn't built through these huge kind of heroic moments and things. It's built through very ordinary decisions. You get up when you say you will, and you make the call that you said you're going to make. You do your workout. You follow through on your priorities. You have difficult conversations when you know you need to. You finish stuff up that you said you were going to do. Those decisions, they kind of seem small, but every one of them is building something. You're building the habit of follow through, and discipline works a lot like a muscle. The more consistently and repeatedly you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. That's why I don't think you need to wake up tomorrow and just all of a sudden reinvent your life and be disciplined. You have to start smaller because every little win gives you evidence in your own mind that you're someone who follows through. And discipline isn't built through these big, huge, ultimate heroic moments. It's built through ordinary moments that you completely just create consistency with. And those small commitments aren't just simply creating better habits. They're changing the way that you actually see yourself. This is the part that I think is so important that we don't stop to think about. Every promise that you are keeping to yourself strengthens your self-confidence. See, we usually think confidence comes from achievement. We make more money, we hit a goal, someone recognizes us, we get a promotion, those kind of things. And obviously those things do increase your confidence. But there's a factor that I think we don't take into consideration, and it's the other source of confidence that is completely under your control itself. And it's being able to trust yourself. Think about any relationship in your life. If someone repeatedly tells you they're going to do something and then they don't do it, what happens? You stop trusting them. Even if they have good intentions, eventually you'll think, yeah, well, okay, we'll see. And I think the exact same thing happens to us internally. Every time you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't follow through, you weaken that trust that you have with yourself. And that trust is your confidence. Every time you say, I'm going to do this, and then you actually do it, you create evidence. And the opposite happens when you don't. I said I would do it, I did it, and the evidence creates self-trust. And self-trust is going to build your confidence. And I think that's incredibly important because it means confidence doesn't have to come before actions. In other words, your actions are what create your confidence. Does that make sense? A lot of times we think it's the confidence you got to have first to do it. You don't have to wait until you feel confident to start behaving like the person that you want to be. Just start keeping your commitments and build that evidence to yourself in your own mind. Confidence isn't just believing you can do something. In fact, I think confidence is a lot stronger when you have evidence that you can trust yourself to follow through. You trust that you will do what you say you're going to do. And that's why waiting for motivation is such a problem. People say things like, I need more motivation. I'm going to try to motivate myself. Well, motivation comes and goes, but discipline will create consistency. Everybody in their life, and many times in your life, motivation feels great when it's there, and you need it. You know, a new year, new goal, new you, new opportunities, new thing. You get all fired up, you get excited. That's really good to get your execution going. But eventually that motivation is going to fade. You're going to get tired. You're not going to feel like it. Business is going to get tough. Life gets busy, right? The results take longer than you expect. So all of a sudden your motivation's starting to go down and you don't feel like doing these things 3 weeks in. And that's where discipline has to kick in. And successful people aren't necessarily more motivated than everyone else. They're just disciplined. And they're developing habits and standards that will hold them even after motivation disappears. And the most successful people don't wake up every morning and renegotiate their commitments on how they feel based on the day. They already decided up front what matters, and they follow through, and they have confidence because they have followed through on the promises that they keep themselves. Stop making so many decisions. Reduce the number of decisions you have to make by just making consistent discipline. You don't need to decide whether you're going to work out today. You already decided that. You don't need to decide whether you're going to make those sales calls or focus on your business. You already decided that. You just need to do it. Just stay keeping the word that you make to yourself. And motivation, look, it'll get you started. Sometimes I'll wake up in the morning, listen to some motivational things, and motivation will get you started, but discipline keeps you moving and keeps you consistent. So ask yourself this: what important area of my life is currently dependent on whether I feel like doing it? Because if something truly matters, it shouldn't depend on your mood. And when that action becomes consistent, especially if it's an important area of your life, what area of your life is very important, but it depends on whether you feel like doing it. And when your actions start to become consistent with your commitments and you don't keep making those decisions over, something's going to start to happen in your life that you will really change from. And it brings me to this idea that I wanted to share with you that, and this is one that's kind of worth writing down. Your self-respect, it grows when your actions match your intentions. Most of us have pretty good intentions, right? We intend to exercise. We intend to spend more time with family. We intend to do these things at work or take care of ourselves. But intentions don't give you results. I don't care what you think. And I don't believe they create self-respect either. Intentions don't give you self-respect. Alignment does. There's a different feeling you begin to develop when your actions actually match what you say you want to be doing or the person you want to be. You start to develop integrity with yourself. And that's why I believe self-discipline is really self-respect. And it's not about punishment. It's not about becoming rigid or any of those things. It's about respecting your own priorities enough to follow through on them. Because every time your actions match your intentions, you reinforce the identity that you're trying to create. And the identity is so important in business and life and family and lifestyle. So ask yourself this question: where is there currently a gap between what I say I want and I actually do? Because you say your health matters, but are you prioritizing it? You say your family matters, but how much time do they get? The stuff that's left over? You say you want to grow your business, but you're avoiding the biggest activities that could actually grow it, like sales. Close those gaps, because that is going to create a much more powerful identity with yourself. Your confidence, everything will benefit. And that's why these small disciplines actually do matter more than you think. Because extraordinary success is built through ordinary daily disciplines. we naturally notice the extraordinary stuff. We see successful companies and wealth and transformation and relationships and all that, but we don't usually see these thousands of ordinary decisions that created those actual results in the marketplace. Because success is usually much less dramatic than it looks from the outside. Ask any successful entrepreneur, they're going to tell you the same thing. One workout does not transform your health. One investment didn't make me totally wealthy. One conversation didn't build that huge relationship. It's the repetition that creates those things. You know this. So small disciplines don't look impressive in the moment, but they compound. Small failures compound too. Every time you make an exception, it gets a little bit easier for you to make another exception. Every time you don't get out of bed, it makes it just easier the next time. Because your future's being built through decisions that probably don't feel very important. What do you think about that one? Your future's being built through decisions that probably don't feel like very important decisions. That's why I want to bring you back to that big idea I mentioned in the beginning. The fastest way to build confidence is to keep the promises you make to yourself. Stop waiting to feel more confident before you take action. Build confidence through your actions. Make commitments that you keep and keep them consistently. You've heard me say this before. Many great leaders have said these things. How you do anything is how you do everything. If you keep your commitments to yourself, you're going to be a winner. Let those things stack up. Evidence creates self-trust, and self-trust will create your confidence. And confidence, it's going to allow you to take bigger actions and make bigger commitments. It just snowballs up into a much bigger flywheel for you. Discipline isn't simply a productivity skill. It's got to be part of your identity. It's got to be part of your self-leadership. You have to accept discipline as one of your identity factors. So here's my challenge for you this week. Pick at least one promise you keep making to yourself that you keep forgetting to do or change your mind or whatever it is. Just pick one. And don't completely redesign your morning routine and things. Don't create some massive challenge for yourself or some big deal. Just choose something that's meaningful, that could maybe be about your health or your business relationships or something like that. And just make one promise and keep it. Just make this one more promise and keep it every day, every single day this week, regardless of whether you feel like it. Act in spite of your mood. And at the end of the week, don't just elevate your success. Really celebrate it. Let yourself realize that you have just increased the trust for yourself. Make that promise, keep the promise, build the evidence for yourself. Stop trying to just constantly build evidence for others when you need to build it for yourself to get your confidence there. Believe me, it will create a lot of clarity for you in your life. So I hope this is a message that helps you. Monday, I really want to try to get you thinking, but also get you to step up a little bit. So join our newsletter, Prosperity Report. I think you're going to love it. Great thoughts, bullets, nuggets, guest highlights, some great resources. But I want to just leave you with this final thought before we take off. You don't need more motivation. Start becoming someone who does not need motivation. Just be someone that does what they say they're going to do, because the fastest way for you to build your confidence is to keep promises that you make to yourself. And it's never too late to start doing that. Remember, it's never too late to create the life that you're meant to live. But you've got to keep those promises to yourself. So that's my message for today. Do me a favor, share this episode. Let me, if you're getting value, do me a favor and just put it out there. Let people know what you're listening to. Let them know about our community. And hit me up on the Daily Mastermind or on George Wright III, or any of our social media channels. I want to hear from you. Let me know what you're up to. And I always respond. I promise. It may take a little bit, but I always respond. And I look forward to talking with you and meeting you down the road. Have an amazing day.